Alright, so boom. First and foremost, obviously I got the banner on my back rather than having it on the backdrop because I'm on vacation. I'm in the most Puerto of Ricos, and I did never know that they was going to have a background that was impenetrable. It's like somebody summoned the Soldier of Stone straight out of Yu-Gi-Oh, but it happened to be a female. And then at that point I had enough liquid courage to engage in a cordial appointment with said Soldier of Stone of the female persuasion, and I ended up running into cement walls. But we ain't talking about that right now. Let's evaluate how the Pittsburgh Steelers has played halfway through the season. First and foremost, Big Ben Roethlisberger has been the difference between our production this season versus our production last season. All right, through 8 games, Ben has 18 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. Last year, the Duck, Mason Rudolph, and the freaking whack-a-mole, Devlin Hodges, I confused the two of them because who gives a shit about either one of them, all right? They combined for 18 touchdowns and 17 interceptions. We just needed about a fraction of what Ben Roethlisberger was, and that was enough to get us to 8-0, the best start in franchise history. Might I add, the last time that we had the last undefeated record in one particular season, we went on to go on to the Super Bowl, all right? 1978, also 2010. Unfortunately, the latter, we happen to lose, but we ain't talking about that right now. Our defense is firing on all cylinders. We're leading the league in sacks, again, for the 4th consecutive year, and more importantly, we're leading the leagues in INTs. Okay, if we can keep this percentage going, we're leading the league in pass rush percentage. We're freaking stopping the run up. If I'm not mistaken, we're still top 5. We're number 4 right now. Our coverage ranking is top 10 and number 7. We've got it all right now. We just got to stay consistent. On the offensive side of the ball, we got to get our run game going. We got to be a little bit better. All right, because the past 2 games have been absolutely piss poor. James Conner went over 103 out of 5 games, and then out of nowhere, he fell off a cliff. We've got to get that consistent going through the second half of the season. Special teams has been all right, but last game was absolutely piss poor. We've got to fix that. On the offensive side of the ball, we're doing very well. If I'm not mistaken, Big Ben ranks number 1 in clean dropback. So the offensive line is doing a very good job. We're not what we were 3 years ago, but we're better than what we were last year. And our wide receiver core, we're solid. Juju, is he a number 1? He doesn't have to go out there and do what AB did. He could go out there and give you 80 or maybe 60 receptions on the season for maybe about 600 yards and give us about 7 touchdowns. But if that's enough to get us a Lombardi, that's enough to win games. I don't want to hear complaints about he's not giving my fantasy team points. Screw your fantasy team. Chase Claypool, we're constantly making withdrawals at Chase Bank, and they result in touchdowns. I love to see it. Deontay Johnson, extremely elusive out there. I love to see it. James Washington, he's not getting as much production as we thought coming into the season, but when we need him, he's there, and I'm happy to see that. Our tight end room, Vince McDonald, Messerani got COVID. We don't need that. But outside of that, Eric Ebron, he's playing very, very consistent, and you love to see it. And I already talked about how we playing on defense. There's no real big concern outside of the fact that with Tyson Alualu being hurt, our run defense has been piss poor over the course of the last 2 games. Mike Hilton being out, you see how it affects us in our run game and also in our blitzing. For some apparent reason, over the course of the past 2 games, we haven't gotten to the quarterback and actually brought them down at the same high percentage as we did in the first 6 games. We're getting to the QB. We're still getting QB hits, but we're not getting the sacks. Granted, with the hit is still great, but we're slightly an edge off. We need those guys back because you'll see the difference. The loss of Devin Bush was huge, but Spillane has started to fill it in. He's starting to figure it out, and I'm happy that we got a little bit of depth. And we brought over, Avery Williamson over from the Jets. So I'm loving, how deep our defense is. But there is one problem that we have, and we must fix that. We give up way too many big plays. How many times has it been 3rd and long and all of a sudden they get a conversion? Why? If I'm not mistaken, we're top 3 in the most deep balls in the league or big plays in the league. How does that happen? How is our defense ranking top 10 in every single category, but we're leading the league? We're top 3 in the league when it comes to giving up big plays. That don't make no sense. That's discipline, fellas. We starting to feel as if our shit don't stink. We may be 8-0, but understand we are not the best team in football right now. We are not operating as the best team in football. If you go down the schedule, we started out against the New York Giants extremely slow. First half was absolutely abysmal. We came alive. Well, first quarter was abysmal. We came alive in the second. We closed out that doggone game. And then afterwards, when we played against, Denver, we were able to play well, but then Drew Lock wasn't in that game. Drew Lock wasn't there. Fast forward to when we played against the Ravens, we started off very slow. When we played against Tennessee, we started off fast, but we finished very slow. When we played against Dallas, if it wasn't for a valiant effort of Big Ben, we'd probably lose that game. We've got to figure out how to be consistent on all aspects of the game. The only game in which we went out there and actually played great Pittsburgh Steelers football was against Cleveland. If we can play like that towards the down the stretch for the last 8 games, I'm confident not only can we finish our season without a blemish, but we could possibly win ourselves a 7th Lombardi trophy. But the way we're playing right now, that ain't going to cut it. Because when you get to postseason time, you can't sit over here and be very lax on offense and expect your defense to make every stop. It's not going to happen, regardless of how good those guys are. You can't sit on your laurels on defense and be like, well, I know I got Big Ben over there at quarterback. We can just sit on our hands and wait for him to bail us out. It's not going to go down like that. We've got to work like a well-oiled machine. But thus far, throughout the first half of the season, we've done good enough to be ranked #1 in the NFL. 8-0, undefeated, first time in team franchise history. But don't get giddy, don't get excited, because we can only get better. And the scary thing would be if we were to get worse. Because looking at how our schedule is down the stretch is rather favorable. But we all know, as Pittsburgh Steelers fans, Pittsburgh Steelers lifers, the easier the team appears on the schedule, the harder the game is going to be. I get more comfortable when I see we play against a Baltimore, a Kansas City, a New England, well, maybe not New England right now, a Green Bay. When you play against those top teams in the league with those top premier quarterbacks, oh, I know it's going to be a good game. But when we play against absolutely nobodies, when we play against the ghost of Johnny Unitas, when we play against, Andrew Luck 3 years after his retirement, all of a sudden we're playing against absolute people who don't even have Madden characters, and we can't even finish the game in a dominant fashion. Overall, I'm happy where we're at. We have to get better. Let me know in the comment section how you feel about the Pittsburgh Steelers thus far this season. Everybody get your hands up in here. Let's break it. Steelers on 3, win on 6. 1, 2, 3 Steelers. 4, 5, 6, win. Let's Worst part of our vacation is when the damn camera cuts off, your battery's not even charged, and you didn't even know. But like I was saying, let's close out this second half of the season the way we kicked off the first half. Absolutely perfect. We cannot afford to be lax moving in to week 9, week 10, week 11. Well, we already passed week 9. But week 13, week 14, it doesn't matter which week it is. We better walk in, play Pittsburgh Steelers football, walk out, whipping the other team's ass. And finally, we restore the prestige of our franchise and hoist up that Lombardi trophy. We got to bring it home, gentlemen. We've got to bring it home.